is a presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are so.
It's a beautiful day for baseball in Miami as April in the ATL continues with the series wrap-up here at Marlins Park, a place that has seen several firsts for the Braves, including their first win of the season. Today, the Braves look for their first series sweep. Yes, indeed, Atlanta tries to win 3 in a row against the homestanding Marlins today on Fox. Hi again, friends. Chip and Joe. Great to be back at work. Great to see the Braves back in the win column after a 6-4 victory last night. And for a club, Joe, that's had its share of inconsistencies in the first 2 weeks, there's been one constant: Nick Markakis atop the batting order.
And he didn't have a very good spring, but boy, has he broken out here when the regular season started. And a good move by Freddie Gonzalez to move him to the top of the batting order. Last night he got the Braves hitting parade started. He hit the first pitch of the game for a single, and he didn't stop there. He is on fire, 4 for 8 in this series. And we've been talking about it this whole road trip about all the doubles. Well, he has 8, and that leads the major leagues in that category as the 5th most doubles in the major league since 2006. He's off to a great start.
Greatness made here, brought to you by Synovus, the bank of here. So the offense is picking up. And how about the work of the Braves bullpen? Much maligned in the first 7-8 games. They've turned things around too.
And I think you could tip your cap to them in terms of the way the Braves have won these 2 games is thanks to the bullpen, because they've had to work extra innings. 8 1/3 to be exact. No earned runs, only 5 hits, and 10 strikeouts. Everybody's chipped in. 2 different guys have closed games. Last night it was Jason Grilli's turn. Fun to watch, and all of a sudden, the Braves are walking with a little hop in their step.
Yeah, Jason Grilli had some hop after he took care of Giancarlo Stanton for the 3rd and final out last night. So the Braves bullpen's been good. It's been used a lot. Ken Julius Chacin put together another great start. He was brilliant in his first.
I thought he was outstanding. Maybe the best start we've seen from anybody who was working both sides of the plate in Washington. He only used 60-plus pitches in this ball game, and he had a great cutter. He had a great fastball moving in on right-handed hitters, a great breaking ball. Everything was working, but the key was moving the ball around. He was outstanding. He's healthy again, and if his shoulder is right, he's going to be a great addition to the Braves rotation.
Yeah, we'll take another 8 strikeout, no walk performance. We'll also take another save from Jason Grilli. He's back in the save column. And Kelsey will talk to Jason about that when we come right back.
Presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Right stuff, low price, every day.
Welcome back to Miami, you guys. It has been a beautiful weekend, and your Braves going for the series sweep today over the Marlins. And guys, if you watched the pregame show, you did see the graphic. This bullpen has been on fire. No runs, only 5 hits in the last 4 games. They've been looking really good, and I spoke to the leader of it, Jason Grilli, about picking up his first save since his Achilles injury earlier today.
It was a big one. My family's here. I have my kids. I preach to them. Never say can't, and never quit, never give up. That's kind of just what I'm all about. And I wanted to just get back to myself. I'm slowly getting there. I've only had really, including spring training, 7 big league innings. So to get back on the horse and will myself to do it, I'm enjoying it. Like I said, I'm feeling pretty healthy, and I'm thinking that, with everything I got to do to stay out on the field, the trend's going to continue.
Hey, stay with us, guys. The series finale, the Braves versus the Marlins. Your Bravos going for the 3-game sweep over the Marlins. First pitch coming up right after the break.
Hyundai Sunday on Fox Sports South is presented by your local Hyundai dealers.
Another gorgeous day in South Florida for the Braves and the Marlins. We play inside Marlins Park, where the roof is closed. Very comfortable inside for everyone except the Marlins pitching staff when they have to face that man. Nick Markakis is off to a flying .341 start at the plate. Braves won 6-4 yesterday. Nick back in the leadoff spot for Atlanta today. Jace Peterson gets a start in left as Atlanta tries to complete the 3-game series sweep against a kid that can really throw hard, right-hander Jared Cozart.
Jared Cozart's out of Clear Creek, Texas, 6'3", 205. His numbers against the Braves, very impressive. 3-0, 1.66 ERA, but did not pitch against them last year. He only pitched in 13 games total in the big leagues, 13 starts last year for the Marlins, because he was battling vertigo all season long. So he's back healthy and ready to start his year in a good way. Although in New York, he was given an 8-0 lead against the Mets and had to come out of the game in the 5th inning. Didn't get the required 5 innings because he was giving up runs and walks, and Don Mattingly yanked him at 4 2/3.
And he said his off-speed stuff is what needs work. We might see a lot of that early in the count. Here's the Marlins defense. Terrific outfield. Jeff Mathis gets the start behind the plate. That's the lone change for the 3-6 Marlins, who do not have a home win this year. They're 0-4 on their home turf. Nick Markakis and the Braves would like to make it 0-5. Nick 4 for 8 in the series, has hit safely in 8 of 11 games for Atlanta. Already 8 doubles and 12 RBIs. Cozart with an off-speed pitch, missed low, and we're underway. 71 delightful degrees inside, warm and muggy out. And that's down the left field line. That's going to get down for a base hit. Yelich tries to cut it off on the track and will, but not before Nick Markakis has another double.
That's just 9, that's all. And another good start to the Braves ball game thanks to Nick Markakis. His 15th hit and his 42nd at bat, and of the 15 hits, 9 are doubles. Not too bad, and he's using all parts of the field. This one slicing away from Yelich.
So Markakis at second for Eric Ibar. The Braves shortstop will try to move him over for Freeman and Garcia. Popped up. That's not going to get it done. Yelich gallops in a step or two, 1 out. First pitch swing, and Ibar flies to left. He's not happy about that.
Nor should he be.
And here's Freddie Freeman. Freddie swinging it a little better here in Miami. Couple of hits. Takes a shot the other way, foul.
You get the leadoff double. It's almost like a free run in the first inning, because if you just get the guy to third base, the infield plays back. They're not trying to do anything special to try to cut off a run in the first inning. All you got to do then for Freddie Freeman is put the ball in play. So that's how that pop-up hurts.
Mathis wants time and gets it. That's downstairs for Freddie. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Freddie was excited Friday night after getting a big knock to right field. I said, way to go. He goes, yeah, I was getting concerned. I didn't know if my next hit was going to come here or in Gwinnett.
Swinging a shot to right field. There's a hit. Stanton charges, gloves, and fires toward the plate. It's a rainbow, and no chance to get Markakis. He overshoots everybody, and Freddie Freeman brings home Nick Markakis with a first inning hit, and the Braves get that run anyway.
Did that hit the backstop on the fly?
It might have.
I mean, when he cut it loose, I thought it was coming up here in the booth. First, looked like a changeup running away from Freddie, laced it, and then launch mode over the pitcher's head, short hop the backstop. 1-0.
So that startled the fish in the fish tank behind home plate as Cozart in early trouble, down a run for Garcia. Run on 2 hits. Adonis has had a nice series. He's got 3 hits. Batting .316 for the year. That's popped over the Braves dugout. Foul. It's 0-2. Mathis and Cozart can't get comfortable, it appears.
You saw that ball moving away from Freeman, and one of the things about Cosart and why Mathis is his catcher is that his ball moves all over the place. And Mathis, a veteran catcher back there, maybe a little more adept at that than Real Muto, but his ball just naturally moves, darts, sinks. And sometimes it even affects the umpire and his ability to call a strike because of the movement.
0-2. And in the dirt. Well, Cosart was a very highly prized prospect. He was with the Phillies, you might recall. They traded him to Houston for Hunter Pence. And then Houston sent him along to the Marlins in a big deal that involved Jake Marisnick. They're counting on him, obviously, be healthy. He'll also be a big part of their rotation behind Jose Fernandez. 1-2 pitch. And a swing and a miss. Garcia didn't get it. There's strikeout number 1. So A.J. Pierzynski a chance to provide a 2-out hit for the Braves. He's 6 away from 2,000. And that's way upstairs. There's that movement. That fooled the catcher. So Freeman takes third.
You know, the pitch before, it almost looked like he got crossed up the way he jumped for the ball. And on that one, I mean, that was the kind of miss you see on a knuckleball.
That's what I was thinking. Try catching it. It's tough catching a 58-mile-an-hour knuckleball. Try a 94.
He had 2 wild pitches in New York in 4 2/3 innings.
And now they changed the scoring from wild pitch to passed ball. And the count for A.J., 3 balls, no strikes.
Good pitch there. 93 on the corner.
So full count. And A.J. takes ball 4. Mathis can't find it. It bounces right in front of the plate. So Pierzynski walks, and a long inning continues for Kelly Johnson.
This may have hit A.J. Pierzynski. Yeah, hit him in the foot. So even if it had gone to the backstop, that would have been a dead ball.
So Kelly gets the start at second for the Braves today. 2 RBIs this year. Both of them have been 2-out RBIs. He's got 2 aboard here in the Atlanta first. No balls and a strike. Kelly couldn't check his swing. Now it's a 2-strike count. Nick Markakis led off with a double. Freddie Freeman brought him home with a single. At the pass ball, Freeman moved to third. A.J. Pierzynski hit by a 3-2 pitch, stands at first.
One of the things that came out of him being pulled out of that game at 4 2/3 innings with an 8-3 lead in New York. He had runners on. Lucas Duda was up. Duda hits him hard. What was the point that Don Mattingly made about we're here to win games, not to develop pitchers? Nice stop. Good block here by Mathis.
It's 2-2 for Kelly. And foul out of play.
95 on that heater.
And there's nothing wrong with his arm. But it's turned into a long inning for him. He's about to make his 22nd pitch. Or he's going to back up and play behind A.J. He has a short lead at first. And Kelly fought off another.
Sign here because they're playing behind A.J., who's been known when you don't hold him, he might take off, even though it's a 2-2 count. Mathis letting the infielders know what he's going to do with the baseball.
A.J.'s running, and the pitch is high, and it's a full count. It's a good call, Joe. That's exactly what A.J. did. Now a hit could score 2 more.
Did you see A.J.? He wanted the baseball. He stole second.
Yes.
Little hesitation there, and then he takes off, steals it without a throw, and he wanted the ball. That's great.
He's a beauty. Full count pitch on the way, and bounced toward the Braves dugout.
He's now tied for second on the team in stolen bases.
He knows it. That's his first steal since 2013 when he was a Ranger. Good at bat for Kelly Johnson.
Probably another breaking ball. He's got a base open, doesn't have to give in, but he and Mathis are having a brutal time.
And outside, terrific at bat by Kelly Johnson, loads the bases.
Now my recollection, as Juan Nieves, the pitching coach, the new pitching coach for the Fish, goes out to talk to Cozart. Wasn't Jace's first home run hit here, and wasn't it a grand slam?
Check, might be right. It was, we're told. Oh, what a spot for Jace Peterson.
Yeah, about a little repeat of history here. His fastball has great life, Cozart, but it's all over the place, and it's especially up high. That's why Mathis has been boxing him around a little bit. Already 25 pitches.
Beg your pardon, Joe. Jace hit that grand slam off Matt Latos May 16th here. He was the fourth Braves player whose first career homer was a slam. Marcus Giles, Barry Pennell, and Vic Correll the others.
Huh.
Strike one. Swing, fly ball hammered center. Ozuna on the run, still going back, not going to get it. It's off the fence. And 3 runs are going to score. Jace Peterson clears the bags with a 2-out double.
Nothing a hitter likes better than having a runner at first base like Kelly Johnson on a hanging breaking ball. When you hit something off the wall, you know Kelly's going to score, and he did, standing up all the way from first on that. That ball was smoked by Peterson.
So he's in the RBI column, and the Braves have put 4 on the board in the opening inning. Now Malik Smith hits. Ball 1.
Boy, it didn't look so good after that pop up by Ibar, and look what's happened.
1 ball, no strikes. And Cozart is all over the place.
All over the place. He can't get the fastball roped in.
And he said in the papers after his last start that a game plan for him was to try to throw more breaking stuff, not just rely on his fastball. I'm assuming the Braves read that. They have been all over him in this first inning.
Well, when, as you've said so many times, if you can eliminate a pitch and they're just not swinging at the fastball because it's nowhere near. Threw a hanger to Jace. Big blow of the inning.
And 30 pitches. Pitcher next for Malix is ahead 3-0. And that one not close. Marlins bullpen's going to have to get to work. And this is what every starting pitcher loves, a chance to hit before you've thrown a pitch. That means your offense has had a good inning.
No kidding. Former Brave Edwin Jackson, not signed by the Braves in the offseason, was picked up by the Fish. Of course, has been a starter much of his career.
That one found the mark. Chacin down 0-1.
Chacin's had the best swing of the year so far. The Bartolo Colon-like swing and almost fell down. Now, that was a great at bat by Kelly Johnson this inning, down 0-2, and working a walk to load him up for Jace.
Toward third, and Martin Prado will make the peg to first. The Braves take advantage of a very wild Jared Cozart. 34 pitches, 4 across, 3 on a Peterson bases clearing double.
is sponsored by Delta Airlines, your local Ford dealer, and Xfinity. X1 from Xfinity will change the way you experience sports.
Marlins Park has been safe harbor for the Braves this weekend. 4 in the first inning this afternoon. And Jhoulys Chacín gets to throw a pitch with a 4-run lead today.
How about that? Take a look at these numbers now. In 2013, pitching at Coors Field half the time, the guy went 14-10 with a 3.5 ERA. That's amazing at that ballpark. The last 2 years have been problematic because of a sore shoulder, but he pitched in his last outing against Washington like the guy who worked at Coors Field. His 4 keys today: number 1, stay on both sides of the plate, work both sides, use that cutter effectively. There's one right there. It was a good pitch for him in Washington. No decision in 6 innings, 5 hits, no runs or walks, struck out 8.
And threw 69 pitches, I think, in that game. So he ought to be real fresh and strong for the Marlins in Game 3 today. He starts with D. Gordon, their second baseman. Got to keep him under control.
Well, the other side of it, for if there was a third key for Jhoulys, would be don't look at the scoreboard, pitch your game.
2 balls and a strike. Slap towards second. Between hop handle, no problem for Kelly. Gordon's retired for out number 1.
He's sporting those stretchy Vince Coleman-like stirrups that are all one piece. That's different.
They just make you look fast, even if you're not. So Gordon hit it on the ground, giving a scouting report to his bench as he comes back to the third base side. Martin Prado, bases empty, 1 out. Martin off to a good start at the plate for Miami. Couple of hits, both doubles against Braves pitching. And he takes a strike.
I think most people who have followed Braves baseball and know about Martin Prado know that he is an ideal number 2 hitter. This move by Don Mattingly today to move Prado to the number 2 spot and Ozuna down to number 6. Probably one that'll help their lineup.
Yeah, Ozuna batting just 200 on the year. Had a lot of RBI chances in the early going for the Fish, but he's only 1 for 12 with runners in scoring position. So Mattingly made the move today as Chacín missed 2-2.
It's not a whole lot unlike what Freddie Gonzalez did to move Markakis to the top spot. Nick was getting on base all the time, so why not put your hottest hitter up there and give everybody else a chance to drive him in.
Popped up left side. Ivar drifts out. Chase Peterson gallops in as well, but it'll be the Braves shortstop who handles that without incident. And quickly, 2 men are out for Christian Yelich. This kid's off to a great start this season and to what should be, if he can stay healthy, a terrific major league career as a hitter. .400 average. Had his hitting streak broken yesterday, but he took a patient approach. He walked 3 times. Found at the plate for an even count.
And he's already walked 10 times on the season.
Back problems really cost Yelich a lot of time last year. Batting average was below 200 in late May. And he had an incredible surge to finish the season at 300. You may not see him below 300 for a long time in a Marlins uniform.
Seeing some great movement already here in the first inning from Chacín.
In the air to center, and Malik Smith is there, and Chacín has a shutdown inning. Got the Marlins on 13 pitches. Top of the order coming up, looking to extend a 4-run Atlanta lead. It's on Saturday, April 23rd, with the Mets in town. We'll get a Skip and Pete famous calls bobblehead. You don't want to miss out on this one. Go to Braves.com/tickets today. And that's the middle team on our 3-team homestand coming up that starts Tuesday night. Braves have 3 with the Dodgers, 3 with the Mets, and then 2 with the Boston Red Sox. Nick Markakis back to work. He led off the game with a double to left and scored the first run. Cozart missed again. Ball 1.
That's got to be a little discouraging, doesn't it? Give up 4 in the first, go through the whole order, and then all of a sudden you start the second inning all over with the same guys.
Pitch. It's 1-2. You mentioned in our open about Nick, his poor spring. He was using a gigantic baseball bat down in Orlando to get ready for this 2016 season. It skips up there.
He was 36 ounce. I believe that's right. And went back to a 32, and it's certainly the results have been there.
And stayed high. Another deep count. And Markakis takes a walk. 3 walks for Cozart in an inning plus.
That was a close pitch, but Nick went up there early in the count and took a couple of fastballs to get behind in the count, like he was looking for the breaking stuff that was hittable in the first inning, and because his command was so bad with the fastball. And anytime you're having that kind of trouble, you're not going to get the close ones, and Eric Cooper did not give him that one.
Ibar looks for a redeeming at bat here in the second. Popped out with Markakis at second. His first trip, and that's outside. And right now, I'm not sure if Mathis is catching the ball or it's catching him.
I'm not sure if Jeff Mathis is all that fired up about being back there. You know, if they went to him and said, you're Cozart's personal catcher, he might have said, do I have a vote in that?
One ball, no strikes. And a swing and a miss. I liked what you were reporting about Don Mattingly in his comments regarding Cozart's first start. They are here to try to win games. This is a big year for the Fish and a lot of their young players. They feel very good about Jose Fernandez, obviously so. Bounce toward first. That is a fair ball out there, and the tag applied. Jim Wolf, the first base umpire, his job to make that call, and he did. Might have been right at the bag. Eric Cooper was running down the line as well. But Bohr stepped on the bag and threw a strike to complete the double play.
Good play by Bohr. But the fact the ball had not gotten to first base is actually Eric Cooper's call at home.
And he didn't make a signal.
And he did not make a signal. All Jim Wolf did was call the man out at first base when he stepped on the bag.
Freddie Freeman down a strike. 2 outs now in the Atlanta second. That's taken high. Look, there's a question about the Marlins club. It is their pitching. How much depth do they have? How effective is Kohler going to be? How effective is this guy going to be? First two pretty salty. Commanders and Chen.
Yeah, they are real good. To a man, the Braves were talking about Chen after the game Friday night, saying we didn't know he was that good.
Well, to do what he did in the ballpark he pitched in Baltimore, really impressive.
I mean, the numbers are kind of like Chacin's pitching in Coors Field. They're that impressive.
And another walk. That's 4 of them. And Garcia bats. He struck out his first time up.
That's 7 total walks in 6 1/3 innings overall for Cosart. Like his arm slots changing. Cosart's. It's like sometimes he's a little low 3/4, other times he's a little more over the top. Doesn't seem consistent. Certainly got enough on it. Got a 95 last inning.
Ball missed. 1-2. That's foul at the plate.
Giving Adonis a steady diet of breaking balls, and he's chasing some bad ones. You think, well, he doesn't hit breaking stuff very well. Well, that's not necessarily true. He wore out, had some good success against Max Scherzer on some sliders, one that he hit out of the ballpark.
See on Fox Tracks, everything down from Cosart. 1-2 pitch. Runner goes. Swing, ground ball short. Echeverria scoops and shoots it across to first, and that'll retire the side. Nothing doing for Atlanta in the second. The Braves lead by 4.
Braves over the Marlins, and Jared Cosart on the mound for the Marlins. Now, there actually were some health concerns with him coming into the season. His year ended early last year due to some symptoms of vertigo. He stopped playing in May. Now, he did go through therapy to try to work on it, but this season he's been put under some pressure to earn one of those 2 spots up for grabs in this rotation. Now, actually, last year I was reporting for the New Orleans Zephyrs, the AAA affiliate of the Marlins. Cosart made a start, had to be yanked in the first, couldn't even walk off the mound because of vertigo symptoms. Not saying that's the issue today, but definitely something to keep in mind, guys.
Thanks, Kelsey. Didn't mean to interrupt you. Jared Cosart down 4-0. Giancarlo Stanton leads off against Chacin, who pumps over another strike. Stanton with a couple of hits in this series, but 5 strikeouts and 9 at-bats against Braves pitching. Boy, was Jason Grilli fired up at the way the game ended last night. He really carved up the Marlins right fielder at the plate.
A couple of outstanding sliders and then elevated a fastball. And collectively between the 3 pitches, I'd say that Stanton didn't come within 2 feet of any of them.
And that's the pitch that's given him a ton of trouble against the Braves, not just this year, but in years past. 2-2. And that one dropped by A.J. Pierzynski, but Stanton swung through and strikes out for the 6th time in 10 at-bats.
And Chip, that's not a pitch he misses. That was fastball, center cut, you know, just above the knees, and he just flat out missed it.
Watching him on that replay, Joe, I don't remember if Giancarlo Stanton rested the bat on his shoulder when he got ready to make his swing. It's almost like the bat bounced and then he started to swing. I don't know.
He's always held it kind of flat, but I don't know that it's ever been on his shoulder.
He was awfully late on a couple of pitches there from Julius, and now 4 bats.
Well, this guy plastered one yesterday. Upper deck.
His first home run of the year. He has 6 career homers against the Braves. That's more than any other club. 3 balls, no strikes. Bohr was a Cub farm hand. And the Marlins got him in the Rule 5 draft. They had a guy you might have heard of named Anthony Rizzo. So very little chance for Bohr to break into the lineup in Chicago. And he's found a home here in Miami with the Marlins. Good comeback. 3-2. Fly ball toward right center. Alex Smith says he's got it, and he does.
How about that 3-2 breaking ball? Tried to get it over for a strike, and Bohr hit it well, but he got under it. He did not give in and just concede a fastball down the middle.
And if you're going to give up long fly balls in this ballpark, that's the area you want to do it. Gigantic dimensions here in Miami, although much friendlier now than in seasons past. Moved the fences in from scoreboard to scoreboard in the outfield. It lowered them in some spots as well to try to help spark the Marlins offense, which was second to Atlanta as far as fewest runs scored in the National League last year. Ozuna quickly behind in the count 0-2. Another fly ball, this one headed toward right. Alex Smith will call off Nick Markakis, and the young fella takes it And it's 6 up, 6 down for Chacin after 2. Trying to recover from the vertigo problem that sidelined him for much of last year. He actually went to therapy to try to trick his brain into recognizing those dizziness syndromes. It's called vestibular rehabilitation therapy, and he would go into a darkened room for 2 hours and do exercises following flashing lights. And Cozart said in a story from Craig Davis of the South Florida Sun-Sentinel, they'd actually try to make him dizzy so that his brain would recognize when it was happening and then teach the brain that you really aren't dizzy.
Wow.
If that makes sense.
Really?
And he went through that for a very long time to try to figuratively get his feet back on the ground. I can't imagine how hard it is to play Major League Baseball perfectly healthy, but to try to do that with an inner ear problem like Nick Osaski dealt with the Braves,
right?
Incredible.
No, I don't wish that on anybody. That's an amazing treatment or effort to try to treat it. I mean, Kathy plays a lot of brain trickery on me all the time, but it's never that elaborate. Doesn't take much more.
Never darken rooms either, huh?
No.
As Kelly Johnson digs in, 1 ball, 1 strike. But this is a talented kid, good pitcher, good arm, very highly prized prospect with both the Phillies and the Astros. That one's smacked into the seats foul. Hope he can find his way after today. As the Braves tagged him for 4 first-inning runs. Cozart's walked 4. He's hit a batter. Chase Peterson with a bases-clearing double made it 4-zip.
Well, you can give up 4 runs and still look like you've got good stuff, where you're hitting some good pitches. Maybe there's mistakes made behind you. First inning, he looked like he had no idea where the ball was going. 0.
And his catcher too.
Yeah.
He's gotten the ball on the ground. Chacin grounded out. Ibar hit to a ground ball double play. Garcia and Brzezinski have grounded out to short. 4 runs on 3 Braves hits. And a swing and a miss. A good sequence for Mr. Cozart. It's his 2nd strikeout, 2 away.
A shot of Chacin in the dugout there. Granted, we've seen 8 innings of work so far from him, but I'm excited about what I see from him and how he's pitching and what he could do for the staff.
Like you said, you do what he did pitching every day at Coors Field. I'd like to think he could do that any place. Far so very good. Jace Peterson bats. And he takes a ball high. 1 ball, no strikes. Jace continues to sizzle with the bases loaded. His double brought home 3. You know what he's hitting with the bases loaded now?
A ton.
588.
That's pretty good.
With 25 RBIs and 17 career at bats.
Goodness.
And if you're a corner outfielder, Joe, you've got to drive in those big runs, right?
Yes.
Braves played Jace in the outfield this spring. And he hits that ball toward Martin Prado. And on the grass, perfect throw. And 3 up, 3 down for Cozart, who's due 3rd for the Fish.
Baseball is presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Right stuff, low price, every day.
Things just peachy for the Braves so far in Miami. They've won the first 2 games. They're off to a flying start today. The offense is clicking, and Chacin is making things easy on himself.
Through his first 8 innings of work and his first 2 starts, only 1 leadoff batter has reached. 8 innings, 5 hits, no runs or walks, and 9 strikeouts.
He starts the Miami 3rd with Adeiny Echeverria, the shortstop. Back to the mound, a 1-hopper and another first batter faced retired by Chacin. 7 up and 7 down for Mathis.
Jhoulys Chacin is 28 years old, so you know when we're talking about how he pitched at Coors Field that he's been through the wars. He has, in fact. This is his 115th game started in the major leagues. A couple of complete games, 1 shutout. This is no guy that just kind of showed up on the Braves doorstep. He might be one of those guys that kind of lightning in a bottle. He's been there, done that. He just needed to get healthy.
And for a Braves organization that's trying to go back to the future, as it were, you've been here longer than I. Historically, the Braves have had a lot of guys like Jhoulys Chacin who they catch lightning in the bottle and they go on to have real good years.
Yeah, and he's 28. He's not 34, 35 trying to recapture the magic. He's still a young guy.
Ball, 1 strike for Mathis. And breaking ball to beauty. 1-2. And Mathis is retired. 2nd strikeout. Jacin's got everything working in the early going again today.
Breaking balls here to Mathis, and late breaking. That swing and a miss at the breaking ball that Stanton had, where he just was kind of pinwheeling around, it was a late breaker that he was completely fooled on.
A shot to right, and Markakis is there in a very easy inning for Jhoulys Chacín. 35 pitches through 3 innings, and he leads by 4. For Atlanta, they lead 4-0 here in Game 3 of the series. And Joe, the instruction never stops for a major league rookie.
No, and this was what appeared to be a good tip from Kevin Seitzer, talking about his hands. You can see how Kevin was really loosening up his hands and arms, and they're showing kind of like a tight grip, which tightens everything else up. Loosen your hands up, the bat becomes quicker. That's what it appeared to be. Kevin works hard. He and Nachi, they're in that batting cage, just like Greg Walker was, just round the clock. Scott Fletcher, early hitting, extra hitting, under the stadium hitting. It's a non-stop affair for those guys.
It paid off in the opening inning when the Braves scored 4. Let's see if Smith can start something in his 2nd time up. He walked back in the 1st inning. Braves set 9 to the plate.
An old adage that was passed along to me when I first started playing was, picture it like driving a nail in a board. You don't grip the hammer real tight and muscle the hammer to the nail head. You hold the hammer loose so that the head is popping the top of the nail with some momentum. And there are some comparisons you can make. The same thing holding a bat, making it feel nice and light and loose as light as a feather in your hands.
1-2. So you come to the major leagues in your first week. You're still working on the fundamentals of your swing, and now you're facing guys that you've never seen before in your life.
Yeah, and everybody's telling you it's the same game that you've been playing since you were a little leaguer. Well, guess what? It is. Same rules. but it's a lot faster, and those that can slow the game down are the ones that typically succeed at a high level.
Two balls, two strikes. Alex putting up a fight here in the fourth.
Alex just seems to have the kind of personality and attitude about this, though, that a 1 for 19 start is not going to bother him. 2 for 19. Sure, he wants to be hitting 300, but he knows it's in there. He's got the ability, and it's going to come once he gets a few more at bats under his belt. Certainly does everything well in the outfield. This is always a constant challenge, hitting. But I just like his whole attitude about everything since he's been here.
Chacin bats with one out. Bounced out to third. Now he's going to bounce to short. Sunday hop for Echeverria. Easy play. There's the second out. And we go back to the top. Nick Markakis. He's doubled and he has walked. Nick's been on base in every game played by the Braves this year. And until Ender Inciarte comes back, Nick's probably going to be your leadoff hitter. Why not? As hot as he's been a terrific table setter. He's also scored 7 runs in the first 12 games.
Took a couple of pitches for his own pitcher to give Julius a chance to get back in the dugout and sit down.
Back to the mound, and Cozart has a very effective top of the fourth inning. Got the Braves in order, has set down 7 straight.
Hyundai Sunday on Fox Sports South is presented by your local Hyundai dealers.
D. Gordon leads off the fourth for the Marlins. He had an historic season last year here in Miami.
First in average hits, stolen bases, multi-hit games. I would say from an all-star and gold glove and offensive perspective, that's about as good as it gets for a guy in the leadoff spot.
He takes a strike. According to the Elias Stats Bureau, D. Gordon was the second National League player since 1900 to lead his league in hits, average, and stolen bases. The other National League player to do that, Honus Wagner.
That's good company, isn't it?
The last National League player to lead his league in average and steals in the same year. There's the pitch. In there for a strike. Jackie Robinson in 1949 for the Dodgers. And won the second batting crown in the history of the Miami franchise. Andy Ramirez had the other one. But he grounds out again to Kelly Johnson at second, and Chacin has set down his first 10.
I would have lost that bet. When you said batting title, I probably would have gone to Miguel Cabrera
right
before he got traded.
That would have been a great trivia question. Andy Ramirez, 342 in 2009. And we'll see Andy Ramirez and the Red Sox on the upcoming homestand. Andy Ramirez, a first baseman now for Boston. Martin Prado popped out his first time. And takes a strike.
Now watch Martin and his setup. He's waggling that bat back and forth, and all of that is just to try to keep his hands and arms loose. He'll calm it down, but it's an effort just to try to keep everything loose so he can throw the big end of the bat out there, as a comparison to what we were talking about with Mallex Smith.
Moved his feet. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
And his hitting coach, when he was in his prime, had a little bat waggle, and when I referred to a hammer a minute ago, it sometimes looked like he was hitting the ball with a sledgehammer.
And there's the first Marlins hit, a 2-strike single by Martin Prado.
And now look at this swing. This ball jumped off his bat. He was fooled. He had to reach for it, but because his hands were loose, when he flipped it out there to try to protect the plate, before the ball jumped off his bat. Kind of a one-handed thing, but the bat had good speed on it.
So Prado's aboard, and Christian Yelich is the hitter. He flied out to center his first time up. Right about Don Mattingly. 2,153 hits, 2,022 homers, 1,099 RBIs, and oh, by the way, a 307 lifetime hitter. Fouled away, 0-2.
Yeah, you got Barry Bonds and Don Mattingly over there watching you hit, offer up something, you better listen.
No balls, 2 strikes for Christian Yelich, instead to first. The National League pitchers, it's going to be terrifying to think about what this kid in the batter's box is going to be able to do with guys like Bonds and Mattingly showing him the ropes at the plate. He'll be hitting below 200 in late May and still finish the season at 300. He was cooking last year.
And he looks a little rigid at the plate. He's very upright. The bat is very upright. He holds it out away from his body. There's not a whole lot of movement going on, except when the pitch is being delivered and he gets started by moving his hands back just a little bit to start a little momentum.
1 ball, 2 strikes. And AJ lost it for a moment, but no advance by Prado. Yelich hit .357 from late June for his final 71 games to get to 300. Ground ball slowly hit. Freeman's going to have one play. He's going to feed his pitcher down to the bag. And Prado is at second. And now there are 2 men out. Don Mattingly in his first year with the Marlins. You've got Barry Bonds. Oh, yeah, by the way, Ichiro. Forgot about him.
He's got more hits than either one of them. And he's still playing. That guy there with the glasses on, not too bad a player either. Tim Wallach, pretty good third baseman.
So here's Giancarlo Stanton. Chacin struck him out. That led off the Miami second.
He's starting his swing, and I don't even know if the ball's out of the pitcher's hand yet. Until he can show you that he's going to hit that breaking ball, why throw him anything else? I mean, look at the Fox tracks. Now, granted, that's all in perspective, but look how far number 1 is off the plate, even compared to number 2, and he was still swinging it.
That's how Grilly started him in the ninth, and then took care of him with a chest-high fastball. Let's see what Chacin thinks about here. It's another breaking ball, and a swing by Stanton.
Good pitch, though. We talk about taking a guy up the ladder. Fastballs, belt high, chest high, eyeball high, and he keeps swinging at it. Well, this was kind of going out the ladder, if you will, going away from him. That last one, the farthest of all.
Now it's 1-2. Stanton laid off that one. For his career, Giancarlo's gotten his share of home runs against the Braves. He's hit 13 of them. But in 280 at bats, he has struck out 95 times, including one today. Full count.
All breaking balls.
Got him with another. Stanton strikes out for a second time.
Instead of trying to throw one off the plate to get him to chase and have him lay off, he just threw one to get over, and he still missed it.
we head to the 5th. 4-0 Braves lead. They ambushed Mr. Cozart with 4 in the first. Ibar looks for his first hit on the day. Found the mark, even count.
He's had a bad road trip. He's 1 for 20 on the road trip, and got to get him going. How nice would it be to have Ibar and Markakis hot at the top of the order right now?
With Freddie Freeman starting to swing it better, that would be nice. And the Braves playing a little shorthanded today. Gordon Beckham injured a hamstring running the bases last night. That injury not thought to be serious. The Braves have to wait and see what that hamstring is going to do, if there's any bleeding at all. As that one's hit toward Prado with a backhanded stab, and he makes a strong throw for the first out. So as of now, there are no plans to disable Gordon Beckham, but that could change. We don't know.
They got the day off tomorrow, so they'll probably reevaluate that on Tuesday, see how he feels. He said that he actually felt better once he got to the training room. It wasn't quite as tight, but apparently it was something that bothered him a little bit in spring training. Same leg.
Freeman has a hit, a walk, a run, and an RBI. All of a sudden, Cozart looks like a different man, doesn't he?
He's calmed down. He's around the plate. All those breaking balls and off-speed pitches he threw Garcia last Adonis's last at bat. Remember, on Fox Track, all the numbers were down below the strike zone, so he was doing a better job of keeping the ball down. Sherwin-Williams painting the corners on that when he got the call.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Inside corner fastball throws Freddie Freeman. He takes a long look, and he'll take a turn and head back to the dugout. He's the second out of the inning.
Best pitch he's made today, especially with the fastball. 95. Good pitch. The target was actually inside, but the ball came back a little bit.
So he's set down 9 in a row, and here is Garcia. He too looking for a hit. He's over 2 in the game. Cozart has never lost to the Braves in his career. He entered play today with a 3-0 record, a 1.66 lifetime ERA, and had pitched 7 innings or more in each of those 3 starts. He surrendered 4 runs today, but he's worked another very easy inning. He has set down 10 in a row. It's 4-0 Atlanta in the 5th.
holds 4-0 going into the bottom of the 5th. Now, guys, I want to follow up on your report on Gordon Beckham. You know, I was able to speak to him earlier today. He told me he is not ruling coming back for the game on Tuesday, so we could easily see him in that lineup after that game on Monday. He had been looking really, really good recently, really working his way up in the lineup, so it was pretty disappointing, you know, to see him get hurt like that. And I was told that they will wait until tomorrow to really decide if he's going to go to the DL. But when I was talking to him, you know, they're obviously trying to avoid it. Better chance he won't than he will, guys.
That's good news, Kelsey. Thank you.
Justin Bour leads off for the Marlins in the 5th. Chacin throws another strike. He's thrown strike 1 out of 10 of his first 14 hitters. And has thrown 4 or fewer pitches to 8 of the first 13 he has faced today. So extremely efficient in his second Brave start.
As he was in that first one. 69 pitches, 52 strikes.
And if he ever gets out of whack mechanically, if you look on his left arm, he's got an arrow tattooed on his forearm, so he can just point that right to the catcher.
Okay.
And he'll know.
I like that.
If things are off kilter.
The one on the other arm is like a reminder on base running. Which is basically a reminder, just run till they tag you.
2 balls and a strike. Just missed. He wanted that pitch. That changes the at-bat. That's swing and a miss.
See, look at the movement on that pitch. That was an 89-mile-an-hour two-seamer. That was just nose diving away from Bour. Bour's wanting to pull the ball. He thinks he's going to get a good pitch to drive, and so he doesn't walk him, and all of a sudden he's lunging.
4 strikeouts. Here's Ozuna. And another first pitch strike. You've stood in the batter's box. What's the difference from a hitter's perspective? 1-0 versus 0-1.
A lot. I mean, it's not as bad as 0-2. But the pitcher's serving notice that he's going to pitch to you. He's going to come after you.
And it hasn't been just fastballs. He's thrown just about everything in his arsenal with the first pitch in a sequence today.
There's that same pitch again at 89. Just because Ozuna is almost a 100% fastball hitter doesn't mean you can't throw him fastballs.
That'll work too.
You just got to throw him in the right spot, down and in, and a breaking ball away. This is a clinic, folks.
3 straight strikeouts for Jhoulys Chacin. And here's Echeverria, who bounced back to the mound in his first at bat. He was late. Another first pitch strike.
But he went up there looking for a first pitch strike and was hacking at it. Got one that was up a little bit too.
He hacked again. It's 0-2. So Chacin's thrown 10 2/3 innings with the Braves. He's given up 6 hits, no runs so far, and he's got 13 strikeouts. To right, Markakis runs out of room.
That was one of the first and maybe the only 4-seamer I can remember him throwing today, and he bumped it up to 90 miles an hour, and it was kind of straight and up, and he looked like maybe he was trying to elevate it a little higher than that to get him to swing and miss. unfortunate, really, that it went foul.
To short. Amar's got it. And a perfect throw ends the Miami 5th inning. Joe is right. Chacin is putting on a clinic. He's got a one-hit shutout through 5 today. That's always fun, isn't it?
No.
No, it's not. Spoken like a true outfielder. As A.J. Brzezinski leads off, Mets could use a few breaks. Things have started slowly for the defending National League champs and Terry Collins. That's at 4-6, already 5 games behind the Nationals, who jumped out to a 9-1 start. National League Eastern play. Nationals thumped the Phillies 8-1 yesterday. Bryce Harper hit another home run for Washington.
Long one, too.
Today it's Gio Gonzalez and Charlie Morton. Let's have Steven Matz and Corey Kluber working in Cleveland. Here the story is Atlanta's offense with 4 first-inning runs, and on the mound, Jhoulys Chacin, a one-hit shutout. A.J. rolls to D. Gordon, and he makes a nice play for out number 1. That's 11 straight retired by Cosart. And almost everything on the ground.
Yeah. What a turnaround for him. It looked like he wasn't going to get out of the first inning. And then walked 2 more guys in the second inning, but a double play helped him out there. That was kind of a sign of things to come with that ground ball.
Another ground ball. This one to Bohr, who bobbles it. It dropped at his feet. And there's the second out. So 12 in a row retired. Marlins bullpen is busy. Cosart's spot is due second. When they come up, in time for our Bringing the Lumber feature, brought to you by Yellowwood.
And Jace with a bases clearing 3-run double capped the scoring in the first inning.
.25 career RBIs for Jace, with 17 at bats in his big league action with the bases loaded. A little too high. 2 balls and a strike. Braves have an off day tomorrow, but they will stay in rotation when the Dodgers come to town. It'll be Whistler, Tehran, and Williams Perez in that order. Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thursday afternoon. Peterson draws a walk. So Cozart to the stretch for the first time since the second inning. That's his 5th free pass on the day.
Certainly more efficient after the second inning.
Sharply hit and off the glove of Prado. Echeverria will put that in his back pocket. Martin was in on the grass, got to him quickly. He couldn't glove it, and the Braves are in business with 2 outs. At the very least, they'll clear the pitcher.
Hopefully they score that a base hit with him playing in. That's one of the nice things about Mallex Smith's speed. You've got to respect it. You've got to play in close, and if you can handle the bat, put it in play, you got a chance to hit it by people.
And that is scored a hit. That's the first hit since the first for the Braves. And Chacin with 2 on and 2 out tries to keep things alive for Atlanta. In case you wondered, 5 walks isn't the high for Cozart. Arbuckle Jenkins, our stat man, tells us 8 is his career mark. In that column, 8 in one game. No balls at a strike. It's even.
That's a little more like the first inning when he was fighting himself and overthrowing. The ball was getting away from him.
Now the Marlins have changed the scoring on the Smith play. They've given Prado an error.
Oh, that's bad.
2-2. And a shot into center field. That's going to get down for a hit. Here comes Peterson to score. Mallex on his way to third. Have yourself a day, Julius Chacin. An RBI hit to make it 5-0.
Breaking ball adds to the lead and ends the day for Cozart.
So Chacin's first RBI since September of 2013 adds to what's already been a terrific day. 5-0 Braves in the 6th. 23rd when the Mets are in town. First 20,000 at Turner Field. Look at that great-looking bobblehead. Let's skip it, Pete. It's the famous Calls bobblehead. Sure to be in the Marlins Bobblehead Hall of Fame and Museum here in Marlins Park. Hopefully it'll be in your Hall of Fame too. Go to Braves.com/tickets to find out more. Changes for Miami. Ichiro takes over in center field for Don Mattingly. The day is done for Jared Cozart. Brian Morris grabbed the baseball. He'll come on and try to send this game to the home sixth with the Fish down 5-zip.
Fifth game for Brian Morris. His ERA inflated after a couple of bad outings early on. 4 walks, 3 strikeouts in 5 innings. He worked a third of an inning here Friday night, gave up a couple of hits but no runs. But one of those hits gave up some runs that belonged to one of his buddies, David Phelps.
All this trouble with 2 outs for the Braves.
I would be surprised if they changed that scoring on Malex's ground ball back to a hit at some point. I know it results in a earned run versus unearned run for Cozart, but what difference does that make at this point in his day?
Nick checked his swing. 1 ball, no strikes. He's up for a 4th time in the game. Doubled and scored in the first, walked in the second, bounced to the mound in the 4th. And now Morris starts to spray the ball around.
How do you like these numbers? You like Nick's average, I know, but how about with runners on base? A 550 average. And he's 8 for 12 with runners in scoring position.
Up the middle, but Echeverria is there. He'll take it to the second base bag, and that retires the side. Atlanta adds to the lead. Chacin helps himself with an RBI hit.
Leads now 5-0 Atlanta. If you missed this at the beginning of the broadcast, this was his first start in Washington, and what this does is track his pitches, and I want you to watch the movement on these pitches to various sides of the plate. Fastball running up and in, great curveball, another breaking ball in, backup fastball, breaking ball. Now watch this one, the sinker. Look at the arc on that pitch. That's what he's been throwing today down and into some right-handed hitters, and with great effect. He has got some movement working. He's not throwing 95, and yet he's dazzling.
Hasn't walked anybody.
Nope.
In 2 starts. He'll try to continue that trend with the catcher Mathis, then Ichiro, then D. Gordon. Chacin has struck out 5 today, including the Marlins catcher in his lone at bat. And off the end of the bat foul, it's strike 2.
And only one leadoff batter has reached in his 11 innings.
Marlins are glad to have Jeff Mathis back. As that one's up the middle and knocked down by Kelly Johnson, but no play. So a rare leadoff man reaches against Chacin. Mathis, coming back from a fractured right hand last year, has his first hit.
Able to hit that back through the middle, that breaking ball. Good piece of hitting by Mathis, his first hit of the year.
And in the flip-flop batting order, Ichiro stands in. Ichiro 2 for 7 this year, including a pinch hit on Tuesday night in New York. That pinch hit broke a tie with Barry Bonds for 34th place on the all-time hits list, 2,936. He hopes to get to 3,000 hits in the North American major leagues this year with Miami. After last season racking up 91 hits in 398 at bats.
I'd say he's going to have a hard time getting enough at bats to do that this year. He got a lot of those at bats after Stanton had that broken hamate bone, so they needed another outfielder. If all 3 of those guys stay healthy, Yelich, Osuna, and Stanton, his playing time will be cut down remarkably.
Back up the middle, and that went into center field. Ichiro with a hit, and the Marlins have runners first and third with nobody out. Third hit of the year for Ichiro Suzuki.
Covered a ball that was off the plate. Enough top spin on that hop over the head of Chacin to get it through.
So let's see if Julius can minimize the damage. First and third, nobody out. E. Gordon rolls foul at first. He's rolled over twice. 2 ground ball outs. To second baseman Kelly Johnson. Gordon has a 7-game hitting streak working against the Braves. Chacin would like to end that. Ichiro's running. The pitch, a ball. The throw is not in time. Ibar came across the bag, scooped it up, applied the tag, but Ichiro got in safely, and Eric looking into the Braves dugout. Freddie Gonzalez and his staff might want to take a look.
Well, I wonder if he's looking in because he thought maybe he had bumped Ichiro off the bag a little bit. They kind of collided after Ibar scooped this out of the dirt. But it didn't look like his foot ever came off the bag. And the tag was high. He was safe, even though he was showing the umpire the ball.
499 steals for Ichiro now. So he and Mathis in scoring position with nobody out. again, it's a 1-2 count for D. Gordon. Begins in the Braves bullpen. A bullpen that we spoke of early this afternoon. Last 4 games, Andrew McDowell's relief corps has been very, very effective. Try. Just missed.
Slowing things down here a little bit. Guys on base, trying to make sure they get the signs right with AJ.
Slap toward left. That's going to drop for a hit. Ichiro around third is going to be held up. Ichiro came around third base with his head down, slammed on the brakes as D. Gordon has a blue pit, and the Marlins are on the board now 5-1. 3 straight hits to start the inning.
And all the hitters are making some adjustments now, Chip. They're trying to cover both sides of the plate. This backdoor breaking ball, an example of that. Didn't try to pull it. Remember, Gordon had grounded out to second twice already today.
So a breather for Chacin. Now things get a little dicey. Got Prado, Yelich, and Stanton lurking for the Marlins, who are now down 4 runs with a 5-1 score. $24,780 the attendance today. It's Kids Cap Day.
Yeah, we got a good crowd. And this is a much smaller ballpark than where they played before. Capacity here is 37,442, kind of like Fenway Park. So you got 24 in here. It seems like a lot.
And for the first time in history, Marlins Park has been compared to Fenway Park. But you're right, real intimate place, and when they get loud in here with the roof closed, it's very loud. Martin Prado, the hitter, he's 1 for 2. In fact, had the first Marlins hit. Downstairs for ball 1.
Part of their lineup where they can do a lot of damage, even though they haven't today. And even though they're down by 4, I can almost guarantee you that Gordon will be running. I don't think AJ's thrown out a base stealer yet. I want to say they're 8 for 8 against him.
All those strikes for Martin Prado. Prado took a 2-0 pitch over the outside corner. It's now 2-1.
Chassin and the Braves be happy to concede a run for a double play here.
Martin will put it in play. We saw that here on Friday night. Good foul, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Gordon's going, and it's fouled back. This would be a great spot for one of those turbo sinkers.
Kind of liking that slider away myself. Give AJ a chance if he's running to throw him out.
And Harris with the signs in the Marlins third base box. Ichiro leads at third. D. Gordon at first. Gordon started, then stopped, and the pitch missed. Full count.
Well, he has some choices here, but the one choice he wants to make is a strike. He wants him to put the ball in play and take his chances. It's just a matter of location again, inside or out.
Looks like they're going to try to go away. Here it comes, and Prado swings and misses. Chassin struck out Martin Prado. That's number 6. And that'll be the last pitch he throws today. He's thrown 88 in total.
Well, it was a beauty. Started it at the outside corner, had it break off the edge. Well done.
So 6 strikeouts for Chassin, no walks, a big pat on the back. Braves right-hander in line for a victory today. He'll need some help from a resurgent Braves bullpen. Trouble aboard with 1 out here in the Marlins' 6th inning. And Hunter Cervenka is going to come on and try to get Christian Yelich.
And as you can see in his 3 games, only an inning and 2/3 total. He's been pretty much a specialist to get a left-handed hitter out. He'll be asked to do that here with a tough one in Christian Yelich. First 7 games for the Braves bullpen, though, a 7.94 ERA. Last 4 games, 11+ innings pitched, no earned runs allowed. Outstanding work and great improvement.
Those are your cold hard facts, brought to you by Clean Crisp Coors Light. Here's another cold hard fact. Christian Yelich is 3 for 4 against left-handed pitchers so far this year.
Cutters and a curveball from Cervenka primarily.
He had D. Gordon sprinting back to the first base bag with that pitch to the plate. Missed, however, with ball 1. And a strike. It'll be interesting to see how Fredi Gonzalez uses his bullpen over the final 3 innings of this game. Remember, Arodys Vizcaíno had to throw a lot of pitches here on Friday. Was unavailable yesterday. May not be available today. Jim Johnson was pitched a lot on the road trip. Jason Grilli coming back. May be available for a back-to-back outing in the 9th if needed. First things first, let's see how Cervenka handles Yelich. And that's high. Ball 2.
Really had to throw a lot of pitches last night, too. On base leaders, Dexter Fowler, the only guy ahead of Christian Yelich. Again, came in hitting .400 at 12 for 30 with 10 walks.
That leaderboard brought to you by Academy Sports.
Gigantic lead, D. Gordon.
That's low and away. 3 balls and a strike. Alexio Gondo is loosening in the Braves bullpen. Giancarlo Stanton waits on deck. Runner goes, and Yelich sprays one down the left field line. Jace gives chase, won't have a play. It's into the stands. Well, here's a big momentum pitch
right here. Yelich will be aggressive. Told you about the 10 walks. He's not going to chase anything wild out of the zone, you wouldn't think.
Again, Gordon runs, and Yelich fouls another one away. This one stays in the upper deck.
Unless it's a double play, you would expect this is the only hitter that Cervenka is going to face. So make a good pitch here.
And he didn't. Ball 4. So Cervenka walks the left-handed hitting Christian Yelich. And now the Marlins have the bases loaded and 1 out. And the man that can hit him a mile coming up. This will be a fun matchup. Alexio Gondo versus Giancarlo Stanton, who represents the tying run in the Marlins 6th. when the Braves face the Mets. You'll also go home in the Braves branded leash. Go to Braves.com/bark and get your tickets today. Can Alexi Ogando be the lifesaver for Atlanta? 5-1. He enters the game with the bases loaded to face Giancarlo Stanton.
And he's been good. 6 1/3 innings. He's walked a couple of guys, but he's also had some strikeouts. His last couple of outings have been very good, including 2 innings of 1-hit shutout ball here a couple of days ago. Stanton is due, and he wants to do something big. Been striking out way too much for the Marlins.
First pitch cracked back toward us and out of play, and he was right on it. Strike 1. Those are his numbers against Ogando. Ichiro at third, Gordon at second, Yelich at first. Braves outfield very deep, as you'd expect. And Stanton got tied up. 0-2.
Alexi didn't just yawn before that pitch, did he?
Oh,
It looked like he was yawning. Got to figure breaking ball's coming here.
Nothing in 2. Did that hit him? It did. Stanton got hit on an 0-2 breaking ball. Heard the tick all the way upstairs, and A.J. Przinsky kicks the dirt in frustration. They had him set up and lost him, and a run is in.
They wanted it away. He just missed badly. Stanton turned away from it, but at the same time pivoted into it in a way. You'll take that glancing blow RBI. That's a tough break.
So they're still loaded. 2 runs are in. The lead's trimmed to 5-2, and here's Bohr. We know he can hit the ball out of the ballpark. As we told you, 6 career homers against the Braves, including 1 yesterday. He slashes that one out of play for a strike. Joe called it. This was a no-doubt.
High breaking ball. They're above the Marlins bullpen.
Rocketed toward left, and Peterson makes the grab. Tagging and scoring from third is D. Gordon. Bohr hit a laser for a sacrifice fly and an RBI.
Did he ever? Jace Peterson doesn't have that much experience in left field. This was a good play by a guy who hasn't been out there much on a laser that was slicing. You saw him go to his left, have to stop and go back to his right, and backpedal at the same time. Nice catch.
So that scores the 3rd Marlins run, but it costs him a 2nd out. And this will be Derek Dietrich. He'll pinch hit. Two on, 2 out. Miami with 3 in the inning. Dietrich has 4 hits in his first 8 at bats. 2 of those pinch hits that have scored 2 Marlins runs. To first. Freeman handles the hop, hits Ogando on the run, and he wins the race to the bag. Miami scores 3 runs on 3 hits, and all of a sudden we got a game. It's 5-3 Atlanta.
Atlanta Braves baseball is sponsored by Sherwin-Williams and Xfinity. X1 from Xfinity will change the way you experience sports.
5-3 is our score after 6 in Miami. That's not a bear claw.
No, definitely not.
That is.
That's the old Kyle Barraclaw, just called up from AAA as the Marlins designated McGowan for assignment. 25 games last year, good numbers. He's one of the situational type relievers that they sent back to AAA to get some more work in. Urania was one of them, Barraclaw the other, can't remember the third, but this guy will help them more in matchup situations. They got him from the Cardinals.
And power arms. If you look at their bullpen, they don't have a lot of strikeouts out of their relief staff. Barraclaw certainly has that ability. Last year, 30 of them in 24 and a third innings worth of work. So he'll start the 7th. Ibar, Freeman, and Garcia, the first 3 due for the Braves. He scored 4 in the first, had 1 an inning ago.
Get the offense cranked up again. Put some hits together last inning to add to the lead, and they have needed it. Fortunately, all 3 of those runs charged to Chacin.
Eric has a 1-for-21 road trip working and has no hits in his last 12 at bats. After a bunt try on a 1-1 count, is behind 1-2. Pop out of play. Joe mentioned Barraclaw came over from the Cardinals. The Marlins traded Steve Cishek to St. Louis last year. Claus, 25, out of Santa Clara, California. Went to St. Mary's College.
Good job there to protect the plate.
Saved another pitch.
Pretty good off-speed pitch there at 83.
Now, and Ibar has a seat right on top of home plate.
Braves already a little short-handed with their middle infield, as Kelsey told us, with Gordon Beckham's strained hamstring. Right off the instep.
Grounded foul at first. So Eric will see a ninth pitch in the at-bat.
Good battle, making it work.
This is an area of concern for the Marlins. Their relief corps has been inconsistent in their first 9 games. And Bearclaw makes his 10th pitch, and it missed badly. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Leadoff walk would be nice for Atlanta, with Freeman and Garcia waiting in the wings. Don Mattingly saw his starter, Jared Kozart, walk 5 men in 5 2/3 today. Look out. The protective netting does not extend beyond the dugouts here in Miami, and that ball whistled into the stands about 6 rows behind the dugout. And a swing and a miss. Ibar down on strikes, and that's how the 7th inning begins. Here's Freeman.
Freddie had a big hit in the first inning after Markakis had doubled and Ibar couldn't get him over to third base. Freddie drove him in anyway with a base hit.
And he golfs that one into right field in front of Stanton. So a 2-hit game for Freddie Freeman. And Adonis Garcia stands in.
It's kind of funny. Freddie Gonzalez was talking about Freddie Freeman last night after the game, and the fact that he was on base a couple of times, had a base hit for the second night in a row. And Freddie Gonzalez says, he said, there's like a little thunder in the distance. You know, there's a storm coming, but you can just hear a little thunder rumbling in the distance. He's talking about Freeman.
His first 2-hit game of the season. See if Adonis can chase him around. Adonis 0 for 3 with a strikeout this afternoon. That pops away, and Freeman will move up 90 feet. It's been that kind of day for Jeff Mathis behind the plate, whether it's been Cozart, now Barraclough.
That kind of his own fault there, trying to pancake that ball in the dirt instead of blocking properly. It's a wild pitch, but part of it his fault.
Garcia didn't get a slider. 2 strikeouts for Barraclough. Adonis down swinging for a second time. 2 outs. And here's A.J. Pierzynski, our Georgia Lottery hitting the jackpot feature. Here's A.J.'s career hit total as a catcher and where he stands.
Next on the list will be Johnny Bench. I'd like to think he could pass both Bench and Carter this year, maybe even Mike Piazza, who's going into the Hall of Fame this season, this summer.
One ball, no strikes. Has to get a run back here with 2 outs. AJ with this at bat needs 6 hits for 2,000. He'll be more excited about his first stolen base in 3 years. That came in the opening inning.
No one else throwing in their bullpen, so it's up to Barraclough to get Pierzynski and Kelly Johnson, 2 left-handed hitters, if AJ can reach. Good 2-0 breaking ball there from Barraclough.
Three balls and a strike. What will AJ get on this pitch? A high breaking ball, and AJ took it. He's aboard for Kelly Johnson.
His first game back from the minor leagues. He's struck out 2, walked 1, given up a base hit. And none of that really matters if he can retire Kelly Johnson. He's throwing hard. He's throwing 94, and if he trusts that fastball against Kelly, he may have to pay for it because Kelly can turn it around.
Let's see if Kelly can reach and then bring Jace Peterson up with the bases loaded. That trick's worked once today. Mathis has worn those shin guards to as thin as they could possibly be.
No doubt.
Now he's going to go out for a mound chat with Barraclough. As you mentioned, 2 strikeouts, the good news. The hit and the walk, the bad news. Inconsistent performance. Don Mattingly has seen a lot of that from their relief corps in their first 10 games now. So got to take advantage. Braves are up 2-5-3. Wow.
This is like a 4-corner stall tactic. Mathis might have gone out with a scouting report on Kelly Johnson after the count goes 2-0 and how they're going to have to come back to get him. And I'm guessing Juan Nieves wanted in on that conversation.
Don't forget to stay tuned after our game for Braves Live presented by Xfinity. Kelsey will be in the Braves locker room. The sound from Freddie Gonzalez. Jerome will be joined by Brian Jordan in our Atlanta studios on Braves Live presented by Xfinity. Hopefully we'll be talking about a 3-game sweep here in Miami. 2-0 breaking ball, a strike.
Back. Followed that up with a changeup that fooled him.
Two on, 2 out, 2-run lead, 2-2 pitch. And Kelly struck out. So the mound meeting paid off. Barraclough struck out the side and strands 2. It's time to stretch. Tuesday, stay with us right here on Fox Sports South as your Braves host the Los Angeles Dodgers with coverage starting at 6:30 Eastern on Fox Sports South and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. It's April in the ATL presented by Cook's Pest Control. Matt Whistler will get the ball for Atlanta when we get back home on Tuesday. 5-3 Atlanta leads in Game 3, Joe. And Julius Chacin in his second start looked very, very good.
Yeah, he was outstanding. Ran into some trouble there in the 6th inning when the Marlins started trying to take what he was giving. They quit trying to hit the ball out of the ballpark, put it in play, got a few hits. He left, having not given up any of his runs, but the bullpen gave up 3 of them. And now it's up to the bullpen to make sure they preserve the lead. It's 5-3. You know, the Dodgers coming to town Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. By my count, Clayton Kershaw pitched Friday night. If he's on a 5-day rest, 5-day total, I don't know how the off day would affect the Dodgers rotation, but you figure he's going to pitch in Atlanta Wednesday or Thursday. That'd be fun to watch.
A couple of changes for Atlanta. Drew Stubbs takes over in left field. Jace Peterson moves from left to second. And Ogando ready to go back to work. He's got the bottom part of the order: Echeverria, Mathis, and Ichiro. Echeverria 0 for 2. Little pop. Peterson on the run is going to get there with an over-the-shoulder catch.
You and I were talking with Jim Powell, the radio voice of the Braves, the other day about Jace's ability to go back on the ball on those pop-ups out behind second and how good he is. And I think part of it is his football background, being a defensive back and always having to backpedal, turn your hips, go to the spot, and I would guess that a lot of that helps him on those pop-ups.
He's looked very smooth in the outfield. Made a tough catch today on a blast off the bat of Bohr earlier today. So his move to second base, the ball found him. He makes the catch. There's the first out. And Mathis is the hitter. Picked up the second Marlins hit, scored their first run. And he cranks this one out toward left. Stubbs on the run, still going at the warning track. Isn't going to get there. It's off the base of the fence. A long double by Mathis. Anywhere else, that's probably a home run. But here in Miami, it's a stand-up double.
He's had himself a busy day. Hanging slider, he didn't miss it. And a long run for Stubbs and Malik Smith. Right at the base of the wall, came back and almost hit Stubbs in the face.
So that's the end of the line for Alexi Ogando. The Braves go deeper into their bullpen, protecting a 2-run lead.
Atlanta Braves baseball is sponsored by your local Toyota dealers. Let's go places. The Georgia Lottery. And Synovus, the bank of here.
5-3 is your score. The Marlins have Mathis at second with one man out. Follow Braves baseball live with the MLB.com at bat app. Stay up to the moment at any moment with Game Day. Live game video highlights, StatCast news, and more. Download MLB.com at bat, the #1 app for live baseball on your phone and your tablet.
Rook going for Eric O'Flaherty here in the first couple of weeks. And he faces Ichiro, who will try to get the runner over to third base, if not get him in here in the 7th.
Ichiro singled, stole his 499th career base, and scored a run in the 3-run Marlins 6th. And he tried to bunt. Very small sample size between O'Flaherty and Suzuki. They've hooked up 3 times. Ichiro has a hit.
All 3 pitches have been to the inner part of the plate or off the plate. One in there again.
And Ichiro couldn't stop his swing.
Who did he point at?
Ichiro that he swung.
Okay.
Yep.
But for a second he wasn't going to give him the strike.
Yeah, I think he was making the call himself, not on an appeal. So here we go, 2-2, and that one got right through AJ's legs. Runner to third, and a full count.
Freddie Gonzalez, they're moving his infield back right through the 5-hole. AJ didn't go down to block that. It's a wild pitch, but kind of like Mathis earlier in the inning, just tried to glove it and not block it.
Ichiro just walked. I'm not liking how the momentum of this game is swinging to the third base dugout right now.
Well, both left-handed pitchers have come in to face left-handed hitters and walked them both. That's not a good thing either.
So it's O'Flaherty versus D. Gordon. Tough man to double up. Gordon has a hit, an RBI, and a run. He's also hit to the second baseman twice. He tried to bunt.
A good bunt could accomplish 2 things. One, it's a run in, obviously, and it also gets Suzuki to second base where he represents the tying run.
Little hopper. Peterson charges, shovels underhand to first in time. And that's the second out. But Mathis scores on the play. Base runner, baseball, and defender almost met in the same spot on the infield. The Marlins pick up their 4th run.
And the wild pitch really comes into play here now. Mathis at third base, able to score on that little dribbler.
So Martin Prado is the man coming on for Miami. Freddie Gonzalez is going to make another pitching change for the Braves. We'll see a fourth reliever in the last 2 innings. It's now a 1-run game in Miami. 5-4 your score. Sunday, April 24th, a free concert for all who attend. Limited VIP field passes are available for the show. They're just $10 a piece. Act fast. Go to Braves.com/concerts today. Daniel Castro has checked in for Atlanta. Double switch employed by Freddie Gonzalez and Jim Johnson. Strides to the top of the hill. He'll face Martin Prado in a 1-run game.
He had a good inning last night. No hits or runs or walks, struck out a batter, but this is his 3rd day in a row of work. Tying run at second base.
And Ichiro at 42 can still run. 2 outs. And a strike to Martin. Chop toward third. Daniels got it and makes a perfect throw to first in time to retire the side. The Marlins get a run on a hit. They pulled a run closer. Atlanta 5, Fish 4. With you from the Spaceship Enterprise here in South Florida. Good ball game. Braves jumped out 5-0. The Fish have scored 4 unanswered runs. Plenty to talk about afterward. Hopefully a Braves sweep is in the offing. Braves Live presented by Xfinity follows Game 3 here in South Florida.
Fifth game for David Phelps as he comes on here in the 8th inning. You see 9 strikeouts in 8 innings. That's typical for him. Power pitcher. Gave up a couple of runs here though Friday night without a hit. A walk, a couple of strikeouts, hit a batter, and both the walk and the hit batsman scored.
So something we've heard a time or two here on the banks of the Miccosukee Canal.
A little insurance wouldn't hurt.
Sure wouldn't.
Chase Peterson with a bases clearing double in the first inning has also walked and scored what's turned out to be a very big run. It's the lead run for Atlanta as Phelps turns it loose and gets ahead with strike 1. Peterson tries a bunt. Phelps pounces and throws wide at first, and Bohr somehow held the bag. What a play by Justin Bohr to save a throwing error.
Jim Wolf is the first base umpire. Looked like he had a pretty good angle on it. Freddie Gonzalez up on the top step of the dugout, waiting for word from the clubhouse. Looked like he kept it on.
So no appeal, and Malik Smith is the batter. Alex has reached twice, once on a walk, once on an error. Although we didn't agree with that error call. Martin Prado was in on the grass. Malik slapped the ball the other way, and Prado couldn't handle a hot shot. Might be changed after the game, but for now, Alex is 0 for 2. Popped up, and no play. One and 2.
Even though he's got 2 strikes on him, Martin Prado still playing in on the cut of the grass.
Strike 3 inside corner. 2 up, 2 down for Phelps.
There's another thing a young player hasn't seen much of in the minor leagues, and that's a guy who throws hard, able to make that ball back up. You're a left-handed hitter, you've got to be ready for that pitch and be able to fight it off.
Well, we saw in his first game up in Washington, Alex keeps a notebook chronicling every at bat, how pitches, sequences, and the like. Guarantee he's going to have watch out for that backup fastball from Phelps.
Yeah, and he's not the only guy that sees that pitch. It's just that you don't get it much in the minor leagues because guys don't have a good enough command to use it effectively. And one thing pitchers do at this level is when you get called up, they find out right away, can you hit a fastball?
Castro was called up after Hector Olivera was placed on administrative leave while the team was in Washington. Saw his stats, 2 for his first 6. That's headed for the stands. 2-2. 8th inning for the Marlins. Yelich, Stanton, and Bohr are coming up. Looks like Jim Johnson's going to be going out for the 8th inning. And Grilly for the 9th if the Braves continue to lead. It's a 5-4 game. Just missed low.
I really like Phelps. He's got a good arm. He's got good life. His pitches. He's big and strong.
And that one right on by at 94 miles an hour. A perfect inning for Phelps. Big poppers are coming up for the Marlins. Jim Johnson will try to mow him down next. Good ball game in Miami. The Braves trying to finish off another 3-game sweep on the Marlins home turf. And this is a big inning. Yelich leads off the 8th against Jim Johnson. Yelich is 0 for 3 in his career against the Braves right-hander and is 0 for 2 in today's game. Little tapper. That is a foul ball. A.J. Przinsky tried to steal it.
He was trying to jump into fair territory as if that would make the difference, but it's all about where the baseball is, and A.J. knows that. Just thought he might get the call. We talked about Chacín and his good work about preventing leadoff men from getting on. Well, that leadoff man reached in the 6th that got their 3-run inning going. And it was vitally important to keep him off here.
Freddy Gonzalez told me before the game that he would like to avoid using Vizcaíno if possible. After a career-high 38 pitch outing on Friday, this Withrow's been used a lot as well. As strike 3 is right down the middle, Yelich took it. Good start for Johnson, 1 out.
Jim Johnson is rounding into form. 94 on that fastball to finish him off. Started that ball at Yelich, caused him to flinch a little bit, and then it had it run back in.
Stanton's 1 for 3 against Johnson. He is 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts. He was behind in the count 0-2 and got hit by a pitch by Ogando with the bases loaded. Stanton took it.
Yeah, tried to go upstairs and get him to expand his zone. That's one way to get him to expand it. Another is, of course, with the breaking ball.
That's what he got, and Stanton fought it off.
Fastball today on the 3rd day in a row for Jim Johnson.
So he'll appreciate the off day tomorrow. Where's the 1-2? Fly ball center, but not deep enough. Stanton's retired, 2 outs. One more big home run hitter to get. That's Justin Bour. Bour's 0 for 2 with a sacrifice fly in that 3-run Marlins 6th. And he flattened the baseball. Drove it right to Jace Peterson, who made a tough catch.
Oh my gosh.
Well, the infield was moving around, and Johnson turned it loose and missed with the ball.
He's throwing a pitch, and Daniel Castro is trying to figure out where they want him on the infield, and he was still moving. See, everybody? Oh. Pitcher spot is due up next. Chris Johnson, the former Brave, is out on deck. And I know they're just trying to be careful here with this guy who has really torn the Braves up the last September and into this series with long balls.
Ground ball into the shift. And Bour is done, and so are the Marlins. What a job by Jim Johnson. 3 days in a row. He works a perfect 8. Top of the order, Nick Markakis and the Braves look for some insurance. Four-game plan's a great way to see your Braves during this historic final season at Turner Field. Save off the regular game price and custom build your four-game plan, or pick a popular plan like the bobblehead, Friday night fireworks, or Sunday Kids Day plans today by visiting Braves.com/4game. Big pat on the back for the man on the left side of your screen, Jim Johnson. He's worked overtime in this series and just went right through the three best hitters on the Marlins club.
That was really a good inning. A.J. Ramos, the closer for the Fish, is on because he hasn't worked in 5 days. He needed to get out there. Only 3 games of actual competition so far, and the last one was on the 12th against the Mets. Missed quite a bit of spring training with a strained right calf, but has been very good against the Braves. Has not given up a run to them. Last 14 games he's faced them, covering 14 innings.
Well, they'll face a hot-hitting Nick Markakis, who's doubled and scored today. Another run would be nice. Ramos took over for the Marlins as their closer in mid-May. Steve Cishek had such terrible issues in the early going. Went 32 out of 36 in saves. So he's been a real find for them. Just missed badly for a 1-1 count. Ramos went to Texas Tech. Got away with one there. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Another double to cap off the road trip would be nice for Nick. Already 1 today.
Total of 9 on the year. And the 1-2 is caught on and missed. He pulled a string and Markakis didn't get it. 3 straight Braves have been struck out by Phelps and Ramos, and that's how the 9th inning starts.
That was a beautiful changeup. Perfectly located down and away. Really had a good motion on it. Fooled Nick. Big league pitch right there.
A strike to Eric Ibar, who's 0 for 4. Ramos was a bargain pick, 21st rounder by the Fish back in 2009. Got to the big leagues in 2012. Fly ball to right. Stanton going back near the track. Look at that ball carry out toward the bullpen.
It's the first ball I've really seen in this series that carried. Everything else we've seen hit either to center or right center, which is kind of dying.
The man that finished off the game last night will try to finish it off this afternoon. Jason Grilli is up. 2-hit day for Freddie Freeman, his first multi-hit game of the year. He's knocked in a run and has scored a run as well.
Light.
You bet.
Light special.
He was on his way to first. If he can reach, Jeff Francoeur is on deck.
Cutter there that had a little late movement on it.
And a swing and a miss. He rallied from a 3-0 deficit to strike out Freddie Freeman and send the game to the bottom of the 9th inning. 5-4 Atlanta.
Authority of the Atlanta Braves and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Atlanta Braves.
Nothing better than heading into an off day with a victory. That's what the Braves hope to have, and then they'll start a big series with the Los Angeles Dodgers. Our April in the ATL will continue on Tuesday night beginning at 6:30 over on Fox Sports South and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. It's presented by Cook's Pest Control. Braves and Dodgers as we start a homestand at Turner Field. Well, here we go, 9th inning. Jason Grilli will face the bottom part of the Miami order, and he picked up a big save here last night.
Struck out the side, had a couple of base runners on, but he was able to pitch out of it, striking out Stanton to end the ball game through 20 pitches. We'll see if that has any effect on him. Again, he has not pitched that much. He'll face a pinch hitter to start.
And that pinch hitter is former Brave Chris Johnson. One ball, no strikes.
Certainly know that when Chris is at his best, he's hitting the ball to right and right center. Braves are shading him that way.
Had some movement to it. Marlins signed Chris as a free agent January 12th. The Indians let him go. Braves traded him to the Tribe August 7th last year. He does take a shot to right. Little pop. Long run for Markakis, and he can't get there. The ball drops. A blue pit for Chris Johnson. It fell between Jace Peterson and Nick Markakis, and the tying run is on to start the Marlins' ninth.
Wow. When Chris Johnson hit this, I was watching him because he was disgusted that he had popped up. But in no man's land here.
Echeverria bats hitless today. In fact, hasn't gotten the ball out of the infield. JT Realmuto, the catcher, with good speed, is the pinch runner at first for Johnson. Let's see how the Marlins play it with Echeverria. No bunt.
That surprised me.
Echeverria did hit a home run off Bud Norris here last night. Big numbers against the Braves in his last 16 games, 20 hits and 55 tries. And just like that, it's 0-2. I'm with you. 8th place hitter. Well, today the 7th place hitter, but Echeverria most of the time hits 8. No sign of a bunt. Did he have last season for these guys?
He's been late on two good fastballs to hit.
Maybe the answer is in the stat sheet. How many sacrifices Echeverria had last year? 0.
Is that right?
Not a single one. Huh. With 470 at bats.
Well, batting in front of the pitcher, a lot of those at bats. You're not going to bunt to try to set somebody up for the pitcher, but you could for pinch hitters. So that's very odd.
No balls, 2 strikes for Echeverria. And he's down on strikes. Grilly threw it right past him. 1 away.
All fastballs, too. Elevated that one a little bit. He chased it right on up the ladder.
So there's the first out.
Mathis has had a good day.
He's singled, he's doubled, and he's scored 2 runs. Slowly hit left side. Castro will make the throw to first. That's all he had. Mathis rolls out. And a tying run in scoring position with 2 men down. And now Grilly will face Ichiro.
That's the only play. You're right, Chip. That's the only play he had was to go to first. If he tries to cut down the potential tying run at second base, there's going to be a bang play.
Ichiro came on in the 6th inning. Has reached twice.
His base hit was a bouncer right over the top of the mound. Outfield is shallow and toward left.
Letter high strike for Ichiro.
And Realmuto runs well for a catcher. Good speed. Good arms in the outfield for the Braves in left and center.
Slashed out of play, and just like that, Grilly's ahead of Ichiro 0-2.
Quick trot to the mound by AJ to talk about how to get this last out.
Yeah, before that pitch was made, AJ was making kind of a circular motion with his throwing hand. Grilly was looking down at the ground. I don't know that he saw that there might have been a new set of signs with that pitch.
Yeah, and that's typical of Grilly. He likes to kind of focus right here until he looks in for the sign.
line, base hit left. Here comes Real Muto. Stubbs' throw to the plate is late. And all the way into second is Ichiro with a big 2-out hit to tie it up.
Stubbs came up throwing, but it was just a little bit off the mark. A perfect throw might have gotten him. 2-strike, base hit, ties it.
Now you've got to worry about D. Gordon, the batting champion in the league last year. He's knocked in a couple of runs today. And he pops the first pitch toward left. Stubbs is there, hardly had to move. And that retires the side. The Marlins have scored 5 unanswered runs, and they tie it with their last strike. We head to the 10th. Free Fox Sports Go app. Log in and stream the Braves wherever you go. A bloop hit turns into the game-tying run for the Marlins as Ichiro singles to left to score JT Realmuto. We're tied at 5, and we're headed to the 10th.
And Edwin Jackson, who was with the Braves the second half of last season, comes on to work. He is certainly a long type reliever, depending on how long this game goes in extra innings. No runs allowed so far in his first 3 innings of work out of the bullpen so far for the Fish.
And that does raise a concern for the Braves. Again, they're a little short-handed in the bullpen, not because of injury, but because of heavy use. And as this game moves to the 10th inning, we were told that Matt Whistler, who's supposed to start Tuesday, is the extra innings guy if needed for Freddie Gonzalez.
There he is, because they only have this guy in Withrow left down there. High fastball, high, up and away to Ichiro. 0-2, really costly.
Ground ball right side. Bohr will flip to Jackson. 1 pitch, 1 out, as Jeff Rancour is retired to begin the 10th inning. A.J. Przinsky bats. Braves led 5-0 in the 6th. Marlins scored 3 in that inning, 1 in the 7th. And then, as Joe said, with an 0-2 count to Ichiro, tied it with a hit to left in the 9th. Strike 1. Bouncing ball at first. Easy play. Ford takes care of AJ. 2 out.
Well, their bullpen's done a really good job. Some of that you can pat Cozart on the back for calming down after the first inning. He had one stretch where he retired 12 in a row. But their bullpen has pitched around some trouble. A run scored for the Braves in the 6th, but Atlanta only 5 hits on the day, and 3 of them were in the first inning.
Ball 1-2, Drew Stubbs. Edwin Jackson broke in 2003 with the Dodgers. He's 32 now. 23 games with the Cubs, 24 with the Braves, as Joe said last year. Last year had a good year. Pitching in relief. 1-4, lost 3, ERA right around 3. Pitched in 65 innings. Graduate of Shaw High School. Drafted as an outfielder by the Dodgers. Full count.
Little late life on that fastball. Stubbs was headed to first, but stopped himself when he saw it come back.
And that one's down and in. So the inning's still alive, 2 outs.
Seven walks issued by the Marlins today to go with a hit batsman in the first inning. 2 walks and the hit batsman scored. Fast man aboard too in Stubbs.
The Miami outfield plays very deep for Jace Peterson. Strike 1 for Jace. A little bloop hit into no man's land in right. Big blast in this game. That allowed the Marlins to tie it. Jace had a bases loaded double in the first for Atlanta, which scored 4 opening inning runs. Little pop, that might drop. It is going to drop. And all hands are safe. First and third with 2 outs. Jace Peterson with a blooper.
Being a beauty. Move Stubbs over to third base where he can score a variety of ways, and many without the benefit of a hit. A lot of pressure on the defense here with Mallex Smith at the plate and his speed. Otto has to play in tight at third base in case he thinks about a bunt attempt to get that run in.
First and third, 2 out. Line drive, a base hit right back where it came from, and the Braves are back in front. Mallex Smith now on a rundown. Now coming to the plate is Peterson. He's going to be out. Malik Smith with an RBI hit brings home Drew Stubbs. A big turnaround first, and after a rundown, Peterson tried to scamper home, and did he beat the wrap at the plate?
Boy, that was a high tag. They're going to take a look at this.
And that obviously would be a gigantic insurance run.
Terry Pendleton having a teaching moment with Malix on that wide turn. Glove is down. The foot. Oh boy, that tag is like somewhere up on the shin, and the foot looked like it was on the plate.
So the question becomes, is there enough to change the call of Eric Cooper?
I think there is. It was kind of a hook slide by Jace, trying to go away from Mathis. But the tag does not look like it actually makes contact until high on the leg. No matter what, the run is in.
Exactly.
Great piece of hitting there by Malix on the first pitch. Almost undressed Edwin Jackson with that line drive right back at him.
So a 2-out walk and a blue pit of their own for the Braves has put Atlanta in front, and here's another look.
If the tag, if he laid that glove down on the leg as it's going by, he's out.
And the call apparently will stand. So the Braves settle for one, but one's enough to take the lead. Miami comes up for the bottom of the 10th inning. 6-5 your score now. For Atlanta in the 10th inning. Clean single brought home Drew Stubbs.
I'm guessing that there was just not enough to overturn the call. Here's another look to see where he might have tagged him, but the umpire's in the way to see the actual point of contact with the tag. But it looks like he got him high up on the shin, like right below the knee, which I thought caused the foot to get in there. Be that as it may, Matt Whistler is on to try to finish this game. He's the scheduled starter for Tuesday night. He'll have to call on some of his relief experience last year, although it was brief, to come in here, be ready to go, and get 3 outs.
And as we told you, Freddie Gonzalez told us before the game he'd like to stay away from Vizcaino after throwing 38 pitches here on Friday night. And Chris Withrow, who's pitched in 3 of the last 4 days and is also coming back from Tommy John surgery, he'd like to stay away from him. So Matt Whistler is the last man standing for the Braves in relief at the moment as Martin Prado leads off and takes a strike.
What a revolting turn of events. That one run in the bottom of the ninth caused for the Braves, but to bounce right back and get a run in the 10th after 2 were out, nobody on, great work.
No balls, 2 strikes for Martin Prado. And a slow roller to short. 1 out. Whistler's last relief appearance was September 6th in Washington last year. 2 scoreless innings, a walk and 2 strikeouts. And he got the leadoff man.
And he will tell you that that trip to the bullpen kind of helped get him going. You know, it helped him work on some things where he bounced back then when he came out of the bullpen and pitched lights out as a starter.
So he's looking for his first save as a professional at any level today. And a slow roller right back to him. Yelich way out in front. There's the 2nd out.
Stanton had a good hack back in the 8th inning. Really one of the best swings he's had in this series.
Ball 1 to Stanton. 6-5 in the 10th. Popped him up.
Wow.
A mile-high pop-up. And the Braves have swept the Marlins. 6 pitches for Matt Whistler. 1, 2, 3 and out. And the Atlanta Braves have swept the Marlins in Miami again. Just the way Freddie Gonzalez drew it up, right?
Yeah.
6-5 your final score. What a game. First big league save for Matt Whistler.